So have you ever sold a piece of real estate and wondered, man, am I going to regret that down the road? Well, today I'm going to tell you about my own personal story, which was the very first home that I purchased. I'm going to tell you about how I sold that property and how today I am kind of regretting that decision. So my first home, it wasn't anything fancy. There was nothing too crazy or fashionable about it, but it was mine. It was the first home that I received a set of keys for, and that was a big deal to me. And I kind of took advantage, I guess, of the market back during COVID and decided to end up selling it with the equity I'd built in the home during that period. But I do kind of regret that today. And the reason that I regret that is because now that I have my own rental properties, I see the success that I can have with those. And I think that that home could have been a good rental property as well. Now it almost pains me to even think about selling a piece of real estate. I hear from people all the time who are flippers themselves, where they buy a piece of property, they put some money into it, and then they turn around and sell it. They've got to pay capital gains taxes on it, but they turn around and sell it and they make a little bit of profit. Well, for me, I'm kind of in it for the long haul. So it hurts me inside to think about selling a property, and it pains me a little bit to think back to that very first property and what could have been with that house as a rental property as well. So I always hear not to live with regrets, but unfortunately, when I look back on that house, I do have some regrets, just because when you look at the foundation that I could have built with that home into other projects, whether that be with the equity that I built up in it and could borrow against it to purchase other real estate, or whether that just be the passive month-by-month income that I could have received from that home as a rental property or as a short-term rental like an Airbnb or something like that. It's one of those things where I did make a little bit of money. It did allow me to go and purchase another piece of real estate. But now I don't have that house anymore. I don't have that property in my portfolio. And it's an opportunity, I think, that's been missed. So I think that the lesson that should be taken away here is that your first home doesn't always have to be a stepping stone. It can be something that you end up keeping for the long haul, and that you end up using to borrow against it, or maybe your long-term goal for it is to use that equity to buy other real estate or duplexes, multifamily, whatever it may be. Those are opportunities that I'm going to miss out on because I decided to ultimately sell the home. And as I mentioned, it wasn't anything too fashionable, and it wasn't the nicest home in Warrensburg by any means, but I did spend quite a bit of money and put quite a bit of money into the home, making it much nicer on the exterior with paint and new siding in places and new garage doors, and put a new back deck on the back. So I added a ton of value there, and it could have increased the rent that I got for the property. And I think that it would have been easier to maintain over time, because it wasn't like it was a 100-year-old home that had foundation problems and a 50-year-old HVAC. It was a home that was going to be easy to maintain. So I'll turn the question over to you guys at this point. So did you recently purchase your first home? And if you did, do you plan to sell that home? Do you plan to keep it as an investment property for later on down the road? It's all personal preference. There is no wrong answer, but I always like to hear back from my followers and the folks that subscribe to my channel. I would love to hear your feedback. Please do like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have new content like this out regularly. I would love to hear your feedback, and we will plan on seeing you next time for another video. Take care.